Hello everyone, this is Kate again, and I just wanted to say hello to everyone and welcome you all to the second part of my clan generator challenge. As I told you guys in the last one, I had started the creative process of a second clan that would border Oleander Clan in this little world that I've created, and that clan happens to be CarnationClan. We're going to be going a little more in depth into the cats that I have created for this clan based on what the generator had produced, and I really just wanted to thank everyone for their continued support over the last month or two as I worked on this video. When I posted the original Oleander Clan video, I didn't think it was going to get as much traction as it did, but it really warmed my heart to see so many people interacting with and encouraging me, and it's really pushed me into keeping up with my art, but also dive back into the warrior cats fandom and community, which is something that I've really missed over the last little bit. A big thank you goes out to each and every one of you who have liked, commented, and subscribed. It's been absolutely astounding to see so many people interact with something that I've created, so thank you. And let's get on into the video. So before we dive too deep, I wanted to put up a little notice and draw attention to something that may pop up in some of the clips while I'm drawing. What that is, and what you may see, is this little image of a cat similar to the one that you can see on screen. That is not my style. The reason is I have a wonderful wife and friends who were very encouraging and who actually wanted to participate in the creation of this video. The thing is, few of them are artists, and even fewer of them know really anything about warrior cats, aside from what I've told them about. So, what we came up with and what we kind of decided to do is that I provided them with this pic crew that I will link in the description below, so you guys can check it out for yourself, which I very much recommend, along with the name and the description of the cat that the generator provided me. They then used this information to design some cats you will see in the video. I use these pictures for things like color picking and design inspiration. On multiple occasions, my friends had to look up or even ask me, what's a mackerel tabby? Or what's tortoiseshell? And other stuff along those lines. So please keep in mind that some of the designs may be loosely related to what the generator provided. Some of my friends even wanted to make up little stories for their cats they designed, so I did my best to write those in. It was really fun for their contributions to be made part of this project, and it really ended up making it feel like a group project. So a thank you goes out to my little found family and all their help and encouragement as I worked on this project. So the clan generator that I used will be linked in the description below as well, and it gave me CarnationClan as I was flicking through trying to find flower-related names to match Oleander Clan. The basic description that it gave me was pretty and numb. The way I chose to interpret this was a confident clan who on the surface consists of many physically pretty cats, but also a group of cats who have been through their own share of hardships and have left them sort of numb to the world they live in. They are a clan that live by the motto, what happens, happens, and very much accept that everything happens for a reason, and it is always out of their control to change what StarClan has in mind for them. The cats of CarnationClan reside in a mostly northern territory, in the most northern territory of the clans that I have in this world. So we kind of have like a north, south, east, west thing going on. The forests of their territory are thick with rocky cliffs and heavy pine trees that hang low to the ground. It's foggy there almost all year, and the cats that live there are perpetually used to having their pelts covered in dew at all times. The clan size that I was provided with was actually pretty decent, and I had to go through and make a few changes, but not many. Many of the names, mainly, there were some names that were the exact same from Oleander Clan cats or too close for my liking. So I changed around a few, so I changed them around, and I also changed around a few pronouns on cats that I thought would make more sense for their character. All changes are up on screen along with the addition of 3 kits. So you should have been able to see the original, but then also the changes that I made, which honestly wasn't really a whole lot. And again, designs can vary a little bit aside from what's here. I really did just use this as a guideline. I took a little bit more creative inspiration on this clan than I did when I did Oleander. I stuck very close to the descriptions that it gave me, as this one I kind of just had a little bit more fun with it. So I hope that is understandable. So starting us off, we're going to talk about Sootstar. So Sootstar is the youngest of all the current leaders in the world that I've created. All the leaders are well into their lives. They have kits, and even some of them have grandkits. For example, Lionstar has grandkits on the way, actually. Well, Soot here, her life is really just beginning. She was made deputy shortly after becoming a warrior, probably the youngest deputy in the history of all the clans in my story. And the news to the clan was received with mixed feelings. She'd yet to take an apprentice as a warrior and was very young and inexperienced. The previous leader, whose name was Beaverstar, chose to make her his deputy after receiving a prophecy of a blazing wildfire tearing through the territory. After the fire died away, all that was left was soot. From that ash grew new life, and the soul of CarnationClan bloomed strong against its surrounding terrain. Beaverstar took this as a sign that Soot would lead CarnationClan to new beginnings and allow them to stand strong against the unrelenting and fiery forces of surrounding clans. Unfortunately, not long after becoming deputy, Beaverstar actually passed away in an unexpected accident, and it thrust the young deputy into leadership after only a few moons after her warrior ceremony. Because of all this, it took Soot a while to gain some confidence in herself and her leadership abilities. There was pushback from clanmates and even a long stretched out battle with Iris Clan, who tried to infringe on their territory at the base of the mountains, hoping to take advantage of CarnationClan's fragile state. Over the last bit, Soot has really come into her own and found her footing and has become a great leader for those who, and has become a sort of like character who doesn't let others walk all over her, whether that be her own clanmates or cats from other clans. This has allowed for her more flirty personality to come through, something that she was when she was a warrior and kind of lost when she got thrust into this leadership position. It was a bit of an adjustment after Beaverstar passed away for the clan, because Beaverstar was a much more reserved and old-fashioned kind of cat, stuck to traditions. And Soot never really vibed with that. It's been a bit for her clan, but they've enjoyed seeing her build her confidence over time, and they really are liking the cat that she's come into. Moving on to the next cat, we have Sootstar's deputy, who is Shadow Whisker. So Shadow Whisker was appointed Sootstar's deputy right after the leader's reign began, and she served as deputy since. And that is a decision that Sootstar has never regretted. Well, Sootstar is known to be more charismatic and flirty. Shadow Whisker, on the other hand, is equally as confident. She's also a reason why Sootstar was able to build her confidence, but she's not as talkative as the leader. Shadow Whisker takes a much more unamused outlook when it comes to the clan. It doesn't stem from dislike. She does agree with Sootstar's more open outlook on clan life, but she just finds herself a little stuck in the life that the clan used to be under Beaverstar, which she's getting used to the new kind of vibe of things. She enjoys teasing the apprentices, and although it's taken a bit to getting to know her, the clan knows that Shadow Whisker doesn't really mean anything by the kind of unamused little rude comments that she has made. That's the thing, is they just know it just comes down to blatant unamusement for everyone and everything. None of it's ever really pinpointed. They know that the tone that she uses is just that. It's just how Shadow Whisker expresses herself. And once they can brush it off and they can look past like that there's not much deeper to her words, it's a lot easier to get over. She's thoughtful and observant, and she knows the cats that she can push and those she can't. She knows what apprentices she needs to be gentler with, and she actually even has a soft spot for kits. She was definitely what Sootstar needed when she came into her leadership. Shadow Whisker was a senior warrior and had a solid place amongst her clanmates. She's always been furiously loyal to Sootstar and has been known to challenge those who speak out against the leader. All around, Shadow's a great cat. She just might not be the first one anxious apprentices seek out for help. Moving on to our medicine cat. So we have Crowstone. And Crowstone is actually one of Sootstar's two siblings. He is her only brother. He received his full medicine cat name around the same time Sootstar received her 9 lives. So the two have actually got to celebrate their ceremonies together, that being Sootstar's 9 life ceremony and Crowstone's full medicine cat ceremony. Crow's only been Carnation's full medicine cat for a few moons now, basically the same amount of time that Sootstar has been leader. And his mentor, Mint Breeze, passed away from an illness that took hold in a previous harsh winter. He actually hadn't received his full name from his leader, or like his mentor, because she passed away before that. So when they kind of went to the the moon pool to get their names, they were both felt really out of their elements and inexperienced. He has recently taken on an apprentice of his own, which we'll meet a little later in the video. He's a charming little cat. Both him and Sootstar are on the smaller end of the sizes, both being closer to the size of maybe like an older apprentice. Their sister, which you'll meet later in the video, is Coot Feather. She's a bit more of an average size. Crow is very extroverted. When he and Soot were apprentices, he was very much the talker between the two of them. And he liked going head to head with Coot a lot, despite her superior size and strength. When Crow decided to become a medicine cat, it actually caught a lot of his clanmates by surprise. He didn't have much of a reason, other than the fact that he'd always had an intense interest in herbs and discovering alternative ways for them, or introducing new remedies to the clan. He has no enemies, both within CarnationClan and the surrounding clans. He's a really hard cat to dislike, and he knows it. He's extremely proud of his younger sister and how far she's come, and he really does look forward to serving alongside her as her full medicine cat for many, many moons. Going on into our warriors, we are actually going to start the video off with a cat who looks a little different from the rest of the clans and his clanmates, and that is Daffodil Fang. He is the head warrior to CarnationClan, and he was actually a rogue who joined the clans before Soot, Crow, and Coot were even born. He's one of the few outsiders that were brought in by Beaverstar after a bad winter reduced CarnationClan's numbers to scary low. He does stick out a bit due to his cream-colored pelt, and most of the CarnationClan cats tend to have black or red coats, but Daffodil wears his pelt with pride. He likes showing off his elongated teeth that he has to the kits. It does cause him to talk a little bit with a lisp, but the kits honestly just find it really cool. He helps Shadow Whiskers with the patrols, and he always has her back, and all around is just a really solid head warrior. He's always willing to take on extra duties and anything like that. Next, we have our senior warrior, who is Starling Face. So Starling Face is actually a pretty average warrior. He is extremely loyal to CarnationClan and is probably the strictest follower of the warrior code and other clan rules. He was a little skeptical of Sootstar's abilities when she came into leadership, especially because he was a full warrior when Soot was born. So naturally, he was a little nervous. When she started her leadership, he pushed back a little bit, trying to kind of test Sootstar, and it ended up with her challenging him.
And they got into an argument, and it went on for a little bit, but eventually the whole ordeal ended up with Starling gaining trust in his leader, and he's become furiously loyal to her. Sootstar has never let his hesitancy in her, she's never held it against him. She understood where he was coming from, and that his worries only stemmed from his anxiety of CarnationClan's well-being. He was simply being a voice for the older cats in the clan who were too worried to speak up, and she honestly appreciates him for that. Since gaining his respect, Sootstar's gained more confidence in herself, and she really does feel like she owes a lot of that to Starling Face. And the two are genuinely good friends now. Next warrior we're talking about is Cherryheart. So Cherryheart's a pretty average warrior. It was around their apprenticeship, while they were apprenticed, they kind of realized that specific pronouns weren't really for them. He, she, they didn't really care, because in the end, they were just Cherryheart. They were really the first cat under Beaverstar's leadership to kind of push the I'm a little different, but that doesn't make me any less of a warrior. And Beaverstar did struggle with it for a bit, but eventually came around to it. And Cherryheart really has just kind of led that movement in CarnationClan, and it has led to CarnationClan being one of the most accepting out of all the 4 clans and under Sootstar's leadership. The young leader brought forth fresh ideals and opinions, and their position allowed for a lot of other cats who kind of felt a little more trapped to come out, and cats like Cherryheart really helped with that as well. Coming up next is Thrift. Thrifty, like Daffodil Fang, stands out a little amongst the CarnationClan cats due to their blue-hued pelt instead of cream this time. They're the only blue cat in the clan, and that is because they were actually formerly a barn cat who is close with 2 apprentices that you will meet later. Thrift isn't their dad, but he's definitely taken on a father role to both of the she-cat apprentices over the moons since their barn burnt down, which left them all without a home. When they were displaced from their old home, they sought refuge in CarnationClan, and they never left. They've been a part of CarnationClan since. Thrift is a very welcoming cat and is very much an advocate for allowing outsiders to join the clan. He's very sentimental, hence the fact that he still wears his bandana, even though it's seen better days at this point. He is actually going to be a father soon. We're going to meet his mate a little bit later in the video, and he is extremely excited to meet his kids. He has always felt like a part of CarnationClan since he's joined, but now that he is welcoming his own children into the clan, he is very excited to raise them from their birth in CarnationClan as a whole. The next warrior we're going to talk about a little bit is Chantrell. So Chantrell identifies as non-binary. They're very sweet, and they're quite a wholesome cat who takes on a lot of responsibilities in the clan. They were Shadow Whisker's former apprentice, and the 2 of them have stayed close even after Chantrell's warrior ceremony. Even though they're younger than some of the other cats in the clan, they're trusted to do things like lead patrols, and they generally have a lot of respect from their clanmates. They're a staple in CarnationClan, and they sort of represent this idea that CarnationClan really does want to be known for. That idea being that they're welcoming and accepting of cats who are younger. They really want to show that things like intelligence and leadership qualities don't have to necessarily come from older cats, and the younger cats do share these same qualities. They, of course, respect their elders 100%, and you'll meet them later and you'll see how much they are part of the clan, but they don't think that the younger cats should have less responsibilities just because they're still learning, because that's the matter. That's the fact of the matter, is that they need to learn. Our next warrior is SpiderBriar, and Spider is the first kind of prickly cat, one of the only prickly cats we are going to meet in CarnationClan. It's not that SpiderBriar is mean, per se. It's more that they're extremely objective focused and a very disciplined cat. They were the former leader, Beaverstar's last apprentice before he passed away, and Spider has sort of carried the old leader's more traditional teachings onwards since his passing. He is the one who's a little slower to come around to changes when cats' pronouns change or position changes. He's a little slower to accept, but he does always has come around. He's a cat that if he's given a task will complete it without delay, and he's really reliable. Our next warrior, who is following Rather Prickly Cat, is someone who is the exact opposite, and that is Campion Fang. They are the first of the younger warriors we're going to discuss, and they have been known to be the life of a party since they were an apprentice. They're a bubbly, sweet cat who has not been able to shake their apprentice youth, despite being a warrior for a few moons now. They recently became a mentor to one of the apprentices we're going to meet, and both cats have been absolutely thrilled since that decision. Campion now feels like they have this little built-in best friend, and they're super excited to pass down their knowledge and help a cat become the best warrior they can be, while remembering to have fun, of course. They're going to continue being that outgoing, fun, and playful cat well into their senior and elder days, and they are determined to be that joy that the clan needs even in the darkest times. So the discussion of the next two cats that we're going to talk about are tied closely together. The first cat we're going to talk about is the clan's youngest warrior, Ravenpaw, who is the cat that's being drawn on screen now. And then the next one we're going to talk about is his brother, Nightpaw. The two have a sadder story than others in CarnationClan, one that the clan actually doesn't know all the details about. Basically what happened is when Raven and Night were both apprentices, it was around the time of Beaverstar's passing and Sootstar's start to leadership. Things were hectic in the clan, and CarnationClan kind of fell behind on things like ceremonies and stuff like that for a few moons. Ravenpaw had heard about a fox living on the edge of CarnationClan territory that some of the warriors were worried about moving deeper into their land. So in response, Ravenpaw convinced his brother Nightpaw that if they could chase the fox out of their territory, then they were bound to be made warriors and finally have Sootstar's attention after these moons. So kind of like a Swiftpaw, Brightpaw situation, but different reasons. The fox ended up being too much for the two apprentices to handle. And when things started to take a poor turn, Ravenpaw fled, and he left his brother behind in the fox's jaws. He escaped with only a scar above his one eye, but Nightpaw was left worse for wear. And when his brother was discovered, Ravenpaw had honestly assumed he'd died to the fox, and was really surprised to see that his brother was still hanging on. He also got very scared. I've actually changed. I uploaded the wrong image, but I couldn't go back and change it. Selfless is not a trait of his, but it's also something that the clan thinks that he is, but he's really not. Nightpaw ended up losing his hind leg in the incident, and he also sustained a variety of other injuries, including the loss of majority of his tail, along with many scars. And because of all these injuries, he ended up spending many, many moons in the medicine cat den, and then even after many moons, staying in camp and kind of healing. While Nightpaw was healing, Raven moved on with his life. He'd completed his training and received his warrior name, and he told his brother just because Nightpaw's life had been on hold didn't mean that his needed to be paused as well. To some degree, Nightpaw did understand, but Ravenfur's choice was still really hurtful. The two brothers had talked lengths about becoming warriors together and always having one another's back, but as Nightpaw lay in the medicine cat den watching from the shadows as Ravenfur received his warrior cat name for his loyalty and selflessness. Something in Ravenpaw shattered, or some Nightpaw had shattered. The bond that he and his brother had was nothing more than a past memory, and that only brought him pain. The pair's relationship has not been mended to this day, and it probably never will be. Ravenpaw refuses to admit what actually happened that night on the border, and Nightpaw knows that if he tried to challenge it, it would only be his words against his. And he's worried that he'd probably look like the bitter sibling who's just disappointed that he received the worst end of the situation. Nightpaw has had to learn to live his life differently with his missing leg and tail during his healing journey. He's become really close with the clan elders who have really helped him learn that his disabilities aren't the end of his life, and that with some hard work, he too can achieve what he sets his mind to. It's just going to take a little bit longer than others. Nightpaw's warrior ceremony is on the near horizon, and he is very much looking forward to it. Our second apprentice is Blackpaw, and Blackpaw is actually one of the two sisters who joined the clan alongside Thrift. Blackpaw is very much ready to embrace the life of a warrior and the warrior lifestyle and drop everything behind her that was her kitty pet kind of barn cat life. She doesn't like talking about her past. She very much lives in the present, and her life now and her future is CarnationClan. She's extremely adamant that just because she wasn't born in the clans doesn't make her any less of a warrior or any sort of less of a CarnationClan cat. And the thing is, no one's really challenged her about it, but it's just this deep-seated kind of anxiety and worry that sits deep within her, that she's so worried that others are going to judge her because of this. The next cat that we're going to talk about is Emberpaw, which is Blackpaw's sister. And Emberpaw is actually the medicine cat apprentice. Unlike her sister, Emberpaw actually very much embraces the fact that she was once a kitty pet, to the point that she still wears her collar that was given to her by the two legs that own the barn. Thrift has helped her prick more holes into the leather, and after some fiddling and the fact that Thrift spent most of his life as a two-leg pet, he was able to kind of fiddle with the collar, and they were able to change it, especially as Emberpaw grows and her fluff thickens. Their differing opinions on their heritage has been a point of contention between the two sisters, but the thing is they're willing to discuss their differing opinions and hear one another out. Emberpaw is adamant about the fact also that just because she was once a kitty pet doesn't mean she's any less a good medicine cat or functioning member of CarnationClan. And she loves and understands where her sister is coming from. She just wishes they could see a little bit more eye to eye on the topic, especially because they feel the same in the end about it not making them any less of CarnationClan cats. It's just not something that Emberpaw harbors as a bad thing, as Blackpaw very much wants to disassociate herself from her history and stuff like that. The final apprentice that we're going to talk about is Rookpaw. So aside from Nightpaw, who, has his own stuff going on, the current group of CarnationClan apprentices are really, really sweet and helpful, and Rookpaw is no exception to that. She's very helpful and is always putting others in front of herself, even to the point where it can be detrimental to her own health and well-being sometimes. She never is stopping helping others, and she'll always eat last, and she's always one to sign up for extra patrols even when she's absolutely exhausted, stuff like that. Her mentor, who is Campion Fang, has told her on multiple occasions that she does need to consider herself and put her own feelings first to some degree, and Rookpaw always agrees, but putting those words into practice always proves more difficult than actually acting on them. Rook and Campion get along exceedingly well. When before they were assigned to one another, both of the she cats felt like they were missing something due to their lack of living family within the clan. And the two cats really latched on to one another, and their friendship has developed. It's at the point where they're practically two peas in a pod, never one without the other. And everyone in the clan knows that even after Rookpaw's training's done, that's not going to change. So we are now moving on to the queens, and we have two that we're going to talk about. The first one being Cootfeather, who I have already stated is Sootstar and Crowstone's littermate. Coot was the eldest sibling and has always been very self-reliant, but has never really showed the same drive for any sort of leadership or higher position like her siblings. She's always been happy to sit back and watch her younger siblings do whatever she's asked, and is content to never lift a paw unless expected. Cootfeather's kits are actually half clan, and that is very well known to every clan, not just CarnationClan and their father's clan, Iris Clan. Coot's never tried to hide the heritage of her kit, and she cares very little for the opinions of others. Stuff like that's never really bothered her, but especially since Soot became leader and Crow became medicine cat, she kind of feels like she is a little bit invulnerable to the code, because she knows she'll always have her siblings' support, much to the displeasure of cats from all the other clans. She is extremely loyal to CarnationClan. She just happened to fall in love with a cat from Iris Clan, and when the kit's father refused to leave his clan and join her in CarnationClan, she ended things without a second thought and kept her kits in CarnationClan. So far, there hasn't been any disagreement to the decision, but Soot does worry that competing custody for the three kittens could arise in the near future. The kids are very young, born within the last moon, and they were all born healthy and without complications. From oldest to youngest, and left to right in the picture, they are named Swan Kit, who Coot named, Duck Kit, who Sootstar named, and Husky Kit, who Crowstone named. They named the kits born in the same order that they were born, and her siblings have always had her back through the pregnancy and now the birth of the kits. The second queen we're going to talk about is the sister to Chantrell Egg, and her name is Cypress here. Cypress is a very spunky and friendly cat who is very excited to welcome her first litter into CarnationClan. She is mates with Thrift, and she knows the Blue Tom is going to be an absolute wonderful father to their kits. Her pregnancy has been rough on her though, but she's determined not to let it get to her and not to let any of her clanmates really know. So it's pretty much knowledge only between Crowstone, Thrift, and her, and Coot does know, of course. Crowstone thinks that her litter is going to be exceptionally large, and he's worried about the strain it'll put on her body. She's already swelled pretty significantly, even though she's not super far along in her pregnancy. So the medicine cat is keeping an extremely close eye on her. Cypress isn't worried, though. She's confident that the CarnationClan will be behind her, and that with their help, she can get through absolutely anything. Time for the elders. So the first elder that we're going to talk about is the younger of the two elders, and her name is Iceheart. And Iceheart is by far the sweetest cat in CarnationClan. She was actually litter mates with Soot, Crow, and Coot's mother, and she's enjoyed watching all three grow into the wonderful cats that they are today. And she definitely has taken on a mother role to those three after their mother died. She's the type of cat who worries about her clanmates and is extremely thoughtful, and is constantly worrying that the warriors are pushing themselves too hard or that the apprentices aren't getting enough to eat. She does do her best to try and take care of herself and her denmates so that their clanmates don't have to fuss over them, but she is slowing down and the days are getting harder on her. She's having a lot of problems with her joints, and so she's not moving as well as she used to. She is the grandmother to everyone in CarnationClan, and she's always been someone that her clanmates can come to for advice, a listening ear, or a thoughtful conversation. Her clanmates don't know what they're going to do when she eventually passes into StarClan, because her paw prints are too significant to fill. To round off our video, we are going to talk and end off on the oldest living cat in all four clans. currently, which happens to be Slugtail. In his many, many moons in the territories, Slug has seen a lot. He has lived through the entirety of Beaverstar's reign and was actually den mates as apprentices with the leader before Beaverstar, who was his previous mentor, Amberstar. Slugtail is the pillar to CarnationClan. He is the most patient cat in the clan despite his age, and his age definitely shows on him. He is completely blind in both eyes, and he started going blind as a senior warrior, and his disability is eventually what pushed him into retirement, something that he'd been holding off on doing for a long time. He also lost his tail at some point during his warriorhood, but the specifics as to how he lost it have been lost with time. The story tends to change pretty much every time he tells it to a new group of apprentices. And despite his lack of sight, it was actually Slugtail who really helped Nightpaw get through the toughest part of his healing process. He helped the young cat through their feelings of worthlessness despite their disability, because of their disability, and taught the cat how to balance with his lack of tail, as well as carry his weight without putting too much stress on his body to compensate for the loss of his leg. Nightpaw's main source of conversation when he lay around camp really did come from both the elders, and both Slugtail and Iceheart became sort of parental figures for the young cat and really helped him get through the worst of his struggles. To this day, Nightpaw still comes to the both of them to seek advice and share about his day, and the three have a ritual that every moon they share at least one large bird that ends up on the fresh kill pile, and then they each pick the prettiest or softest feather to line their nest with. The clan also worries about losing Slugtail, as CarnationClan won't feel really like CarnationClan without him. The two elders currently in the clan really do play a huge, huge, huge role in CarnationClan as a whole. And the clan are very fortunate to have them. But of course, they are old. So it is something that they do worry about on a daily basis, especially with the harsh leaf bears that CarnationClan does suffer from living up in a more mountainous territory. So that, my friends, is CarnationClan. And I really want to appreciate all of you who have sat through like almost 40 minutes of me just rambling about this fictional clan that I've created. I had a lot of fun making this video, and I'm looking forward to making more content for you all in the future. But again, my sincerest apologies do go out for the length of time it does take me to create these videos, but I really appreciate the interactions that you've all done on my previous posts. I am still learning, hence why this video looks a little bit different from the other one. This setup kind of took me a bit longer to do because I've been trying out a few different programs, so it very well might change by the next one. But I did learn, so I'm hoping it won't take up as much time. Thank you again for all your encouragement, and I'll see you all in the next clan generator video. The next one will be Iris Clan. So we're going to meet the kit's father and a couple other notable cats. Please make sure you check out the links in the description. There'll be the link to the pit crew, the clan generator, along with some social media for my Instagram and Twitter, where it's a lot easier for me to interact with you all. And I can answer any questions that anybody has. But thank you again for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And yeah, bye.